Welcome everyone to the Global Mindfulness in Education Summit. Our next guest, I'm really excited to introduce you to. Her name is Bryndis Jona Jonsdottir. I hope I pronounced that correctly. And she's coming to us from Iceland. So welcome, Bryndis, and thank you so much for joining us on the summit.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. So excited to share and meet you and have a talk about what I love.
Yes, we all have this common interest and love. So Bryndis has been working in the education field for 20 years, has spent more than 10 years developing health and well-being materials for school, working with the curriculum. She's a co-developer of a holistic approach, which she's going to tell us about today. She's also the co-founder of the Mindfulness Center in Reykjavik, and she has her first book coming out in Icelandic in September of this year, so I've just come out before the summit goes live, so that's very exciting. So we'll have a picture and how you can order that, and that's mindfulness in daily life. And she's also done lots of other things, working with the University of Iceland, developing materials for teens. So we're really excited to have her here to share with us today. So Bryndis, let's just start by talking about how you got into this field and maybe what was your first experience of mindfulness before you might have known it was mindfulness.
Yeah, well, as you said, as you mentioned, I've been working in this educational field for a long time, and the whole time health promoting or health issues have been my heart. So it was in 2012 that I sometimes said that I met mindfulness, because it just felt like I met it and I was like at home. And then I was working in a college, and we were starting with in the health promoting schools. We have these 4 elements, and one of them is what do you call it? Mental health, of course. Yes, the mental health. And they said, well, we could have mindfulness in the school. And I was like, yeah. At that time, not so many people had met or heard even about mindfulness. I've been doing TM and a lot of relaxations things and stuff like that. But I never felt like home. But when I started to practice and I just got into it, it felt like this was a philosophy that I really, really felt like home. And then that is the beginning of how we started that in that college. And I think that is the first school that implemented mindfulness into the school curriculum and has been doing ever since. So it has been an amazing journey.
Yeah, exciting. And is there anything in Icelandic culture or, the history of Iceland that's similar to mindfulness or brings mindfulness in another way to society?
No, I don't think we can say that, although we are very connected to the nature and we are very open-minded, and so it felt like as soon as people heard about mindfulness, they really connected, and people are very open and want to hear more. There are not so many skepticals. Of course there are, but it's more like that. I think it has been we don't have it in the culture, but we are very open to it.
I always found, as I mentioned before, Icelandic society very open-minded and very forward-thinking. So great to hear that. So let's talk a little bit about your model. So we're going to put that on the screen. There'll be a PDF that you can download to see the model. But tell us about how this holistic model built up, first of all.
We start out by thinking, okay, what has been working and what has not been working so well, and what are the challenges about mindfulness in schools? Because I don't think that people doubt that mindfulness can be very good, but what are the how can we implement it so that it will stay, not just be there for a few weeks and then something new comes along. So when the Directorate of Health approaches us in the Mindfulness Center in Reykjavik to ask us to look into what has been done around the world and see what the literature is saying, our findings were like we needed to have it a holistic approach. So this is a 2 years of implementation, and the main thing is, and we aim for that the school staff will be sustainable with that or with human resources within themselves to nourish and keep on going with that. So even though experts come into the school and help out in the beginning, the main thing is that after that we have people within the school that are capable of keep it going. So it is long-term thing. Yes, it is. So we start with the first year just nurturing the roots, just like starting with the staff and the staff, because I used to work in a human resource in school, and we all know that how outset school staff is for burnouts and stress in daily life. And it's awful to see that it seems like a global thing, that the teachers are just so burdened. So we wanted to have that as our main thing, to go into the schools and not another thing coming from the outside and telling you should do this. More like coming
until
in
the next thing comes along.
More like going from the roots and up. So
I love that.
I really think it's so offering them opportunity to go and just find out that for themselves, is this something suitable for them? And it seems like a majority is very, very keen to, and we thought, like in the schools we've been working on, we might like have one group or two, but there has been always at least two groups in each school. So it has been amazing how they are. So we start with that in the first year. So we start with this 8-week course, to offer them 8-week course, and we have been working with MPCT for life, and also finding peace in fronting world, depending on the group and what timetable is suitable for them, because that's always an issue, how to fit that in the schedule. And I think another very important thing is that within the school we establish a team of interested people, one who is in charge, like some manager or some preferable the headmaster or something, or vice headmaster, so that someone in the team can make the decisions. So it makes them powerful in them. So I think that is very important, to start there and just nurture. And after the 8-week course is finished, that to keep on going, offer them moments that they can step out. And also that the school culture says it's okay to step out for a few minutes, so that it's like a common thing. So it's not like you or some weirdo to go.
Exactly.
And after they build that in the first year, and then of course when they have had opportunity to live it and nurture it themselves, in the end of the first year we start giving them opportunity to go to teacher trainings. And since this is a holistic approach, so it's from, like the system in Iceland is that the elementary school is from 6 to 16. So we have in the youngest one, we have present. I don't know if you know that material, but we have been working closely with Sarah Silverton. She's an amazing teacher working in Bangor, used to work in Bangor University, coming from Wales. And she has built this material which is not the meaning of that is not to be just like this mindfulness session. It's just like how we can weave it into every day. So every
Right.
activity, even just how you hold your pen and how you open your book and everything.
So important. Yeah.
It is very important. So we think that this is the foundation. The present is the foundation of it. And then after that, we have for the 10, 11, and then we have youth mindfulness with Michael Bryndis.
Okay.
Yes, it's also on the Global Mindfulness.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
I'm talking to him in a few days. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he's amazing. Yeah. So we've been working closely, and he both of them have come to Iceland, and then in the teenage years we have material that I've written myself. So we think like present is the foundation, then there comes a boost with this kids program, and then again when they are like teenagers. So different approaches, but still nurturing the same thing. So giving them the opportunity to be mindful in daily school life. Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. And how widespread is this? Is it we're talking about public schools, I'm guessing. So is it in many of the public schools, or is it just isolated schools that are working on it at the moment?
At the moment, we have research around this. So research schools are we have 5 in that research. So 3 that are implementing and 2 that are comparing. And the comparing ones are starting in January 2020. Okay. So we start working with them. And then we have 3 others that have started. And we also work with kindergarten. So we use the same model. And I think it's very important to the main thing is not what we put into it, the material. It's more like having the frame, having the support, having the team, having the resources within the school, thinking of ahead. We don't need to take a big, giant step. We just take a small step. We know what direction we are going on. So I think almost any curriculums, mindfulness curriculum, could fit into the model. It's just like the model is more like the framework.
Yes. Okay.
And so I think schools in Iceland, they seem to be very interested, and this is just starting out. So.
Yeah, I love that. And also because every school is so different, aren't they? So using material that works, that teachers resonate with, or the program. I like that you have that kind of flexible model to work with what works for that school. So what's the kind of the timeline? So it's a 2-year integration, and so and when does that, I mean, obviously once teachers start developing the skills, it just will go to the children automatically, but at what point do you start to bringing the skills into the classroom for children?
Yeah, that we start with that on the second year, and then we start with a parent training, so introducing to the parents so that they know when kids come home and start talking about what's happening there. Of course, they know school is working around working with mindfulness, but also what are the exercises that my kids is working, so I can support at home. So we start with that, and then after that with the kids, and the main thing is that it should not only be locked in this session or like life skill sessions. So as much as we can to weave it into the whole everything. Yes. And there are no limits. I mean, you can take it in math, and you can take it in home, what do you call it, when you learn how to cook and stuff like that. Yeah. So no limits.
Yeah, wonderful. I love that's a beautiful model, just a way of being, really. So that's great. What are some of the challenges that you've faced so far in bringing this model into schools?
Well, it's not my favorite topic to discuss, but it's the financial ones.
Yeah.
Because it's
Wolves, yeah.
well known. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, but because everywhere we go, people are very positive. They're very supporting and everything. So I think, like we talked about, the open-minded, which is one of the main things about mindfulness, how to approach things with an open mind. I think they are that we can say that schools and even politics and everyone say, oh, this is great stuff, you really should be doing this, but well, you need to look somewhere else for money. So so that's the main thing. But also that it's how to establish it, because people get excited and you get a high rush after being on like an 8-week course, and like, oh yeah, I'm going to do it. And then you and how to help the teachers to really take it deep in. So how to establish that. And also if the same thing is after they go to the teacher training, because then they know they have this material, oh yeah, I'm going to do this. And then, I mean, like just school day is, with all the ups and downs in that. So I think that the follow-up, how you support afterwards is a challenging thing. And the school staff themselves are really important, and the teams that are in the schools, I think, are the main resources that we really need to support.
I love, and I mean, it takes time, doesn't it? And to really integrate that into your own life. And I know in schools we want magic people to go and fix everything right away, but it doesn't really work that way. So we need a bit of patience and open-mindedness, I think. So what are your hopes and dreams for this in Iceland, or what opportunities do you see coming in the future with this program that started?
I think I'm very optimistic about the future, because we had all these good vibes with us, and everyone are so positive. So I really think, and also I think just the climate around education is changing. I think we are more like looking into that, the well-being in the school, and this fits so well there. So both for the teachers, the staff, the other staff, and the students themselves. And I really hope that we can have opportunity in the future to work more with the parents. Because I think that we could do more there. And I think it's the same for them as like just mindful parenting is. And I know you've been into that field. So there's so many opportunities there. I mean, even though we never mention mindfulness to the kids, just if we as a parents and we as I'm a grandmother, and I'm there for them when I'm with them, and of course teachers and staffs in school. So I'm very optimistic about this, and I think that this can grow, and there is no limitation of how this will grow, because this should. My fears are though that it will get locked in a box or something. So we need to take it out of the box, and there is nothing like this has nothing to do with the religions and stuff, and people are sometimes a bit afraid of that. So no, this is just a way of living. This has nothing to do with the religions. So I
think that comes up in quite a few different places, I think. But there's so much science behind everything, isn't there? So so tell us a little bit about, you mentioned before that you started research in 5 schools. So what have you learned so far from the research, or just what has been your perception of how, like, the feedback that you've got from the schools that are implementing it, or the parents that have children in the schools?
I would say there are two sides of it. We could look at it into two different windows. Although one window is the research and how what they are telling us, and of course this is just a preliminary results, but all the numbers are in the right direction, and we are so grateful for that, because people said to us when we started, "Oh my goodness, you are just crazy going. I mean, implementation never get tick in the box, or it's so hard to show it with the research." But we have seen it both with the teachers, and what has been so delightful to see is that the self-compassion, both with the teens, because we researched this for 2 years. We don't research the whole spectrum. It would be too wide at the beginning. Hopefully in the future we will, but now we limit the research to kids born 2005 and 2006, and the teachers. And in both of these groups we see that self-compassion is rising, and I think that is so, because in the teenager years, this tends to go down, all the self-criticism. And if you really can shift that line a bit, you can see if they can keep on nurturing how helpful that can be. And also with the staff, the same way. But we see positive emerge in all the numbers. So, but this was just like heartwarming to have the self-compassion. We were not expecting that necessarily to have that one.
Right.
And that is the other window we can look into, and that is the importance of how does the staff and feel about this, and what do the parents say about that. And one sunshine story we have from teacher who was teaching 13 years old. He was a bit afraid that one particular guy in the class would not be able to or take mindfulness within him. He was not. He would be skeptical, and he was been having really trouble. But then I think it was 4 weeks into the program when his father called the teacher and said, "Oh my God, what's happening there? He's changed a lot at home, and he's been. I mean, he even tied his bed in the morning. So what's there?" So the teacher said, "I'm sure it's the mindfulness." And then the teacher asked the boy, and he said, "Yes, I use it always when I'm on the bus on the way to trainings, and always when I go to sleep." So that we can see that the parents can see the differences. And even though this was the one she was afraid would be most skeptical in the classroom, he was the one who took it.
Yeah.
So
isn't that amazing?
It's amazing that it can help everyone, both the one who needs it most and also the one that are flourishing, just to be even more.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I think, I was talking to someone the other day, and they were saying also sometimes you think that perhaps somebody's not interested, but then they will come back later and they were actually the one that was most affected. So so we really don't know, but that's a wonderful story that you've told. So what's one of your own favorite practices maybe that you've seen in school, or that you do yourself?
One of my favorites that I do, because I give a lot of lectures, and I've done this with many age groups from 5 years old, I think is the youngest one, and up to 60, 70 or something.
Right.
That is what I call shake and sit. But I guess many people know it from 8, 4, 2, 1. So you shake your hands 8 times, and feet 8 times, and 4, 2, 1. And then you make this sound and jump into that, and then you sit and just to feel the differences. So this always lifts the energy, and it's so good to feel it in the body. So I have to say this is my favorite, although this is not one of my daily practices at home.
Yeah.
But yeah,
good
but then,
for awareness, isn't it? And I love that. So
yeah,
and a great one that can work with so many different age ranges.
yes.
A lot of practices do, to be honest, right? Work from all different ones if you adapt them a little bit. So
I think often we are thinking of this is just for the kids, or this is just for the older ones, but we really can adapt them. So,
definitely.
No
Yeah. So, Bryndis, before we finish today, is there anything else you'd like to share about your model or about what's happening in Iceland in general?
Maybe just that we are very optimistic here in Iceland, and I think that in the future we are going to see great things happening within the school system, both within positive education and of course mindfulness is under that. I'm coming from mindfulness into positive psychology, so people, it's different. Yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah. And I'm really excited to have like in June next year, we are having the European Conference in Positive Psychology here in Iceland. And I know that positive education and mindfulness will play a big role there. And we will have some amazing neuroscience here over. So they haven't published it yet, the schedule of the people who give a talk, but I know they're great. So if you would like to,
I'm coming to that. I didn't realize it was going to be in Iceland until I saw you mentioned it, and I would love to come to that. I've been to Iceland once. It's a wonderful place. So definitely would like to get to come and experience a positive psychology conference, and I could meet you in person too. It'd be lovely.
So great to meet up and combine to come and visit beautiful country and have a glimpse into bright nights and the nature.
Exactly.
And all this. What I love about the conference in positive psychology, you meet so many good people there. I mean, they're all so,
we're all, I think, on the same path, or not the same path, but we have the same maybe goals or outcomes, or we all want to help children, and yes, it's really exciting to hear all the things happening in the world, and I really love your project and what's happening in Iceland, and wish you lots of success in bringing it to more schools. And just to say thank you again for coming on and sharing with us, and as we mentioned, we'll put the Icelandic materials for anyone who is in Iceland or is Icelandic and can read those, and also how to order Bryndis' book, which has just come out in September. So thank you once again.
Thank you.
Thanks.